Joining us is Israel's ambassador to India, Reuven Azar, is with us. Mr. Reuven Azar, thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking to us here at Times Now. Let me begin by asking you about Israel and USA, who've been criticized for striking Iran despite the fact that negotiations with Iran were on. There was Oman that was engaged in those negotiations. Could we not have waited for the talks to continue, or at least have reached some logical conclusion?
Well, the United States of America has decided that the negotiations were going nowhere, and that's the reason why they decided to take action. They are leading the way now. We have joined them, and we are determined to neutralize the military threats emanating from these weapons of mass destruction that Iran has been building to destroy us.
Now, many countries from Russia to China and even North Korea are all talking about the killing of Ali Khamenei as a violation of the sovereignty of Iran. What would you say to this criticism coming in from different sections and other countries as well?
Ali Khamenei has been the leader who has been ordering for decades now the killing of numerous Israelis and Americans and other people around the world, by sponsoring these terrorist organizations, by building a military nuclear program, by building a ballistic missile program. He was personally responsible for trying to destroy the state of Israel, and therefore his taking out is only natural, and a natural result that we had to achieve, because he refused for decades to change course and to reverse his policies that were fatal for us.
Now, there is also this theory that Iran was in some way plotting to kill Trump. What is Israel's position on that? Was there in fact such a plan of assassination that Iran was trying to come up with?
Well, it may be the case. I'm not aware of the intelligence. I don't know the details, but we know how Khamenei was threatening us. And, each and every Israeli killed in the last few decades had some Iranian involvement in that, whether it be in the ammunition, in the training, in the financing, in the indoctrinating. So this is a result that we had to get into because all diplomacy has failed. And despite the fact that Iran was hardly hit during the 12-day war, and despite the fact that they were hit by the Americans, they didn't bow to the American request. And there was no choice, because they were building capability to make them immune from strikes in the future. And therefore, we had to take action, and we had to take action now.
Right. There's also a lot of criticism coming in from Iran for both Israel and the United States that it's school children who've borne the brunt of some of the aggression there. We've seen how many school children were targeted, for instance, in Minab. How do you respond to that? Because does there appear to have been some kind of lack of discretion in the way that the targets were chosen?
Well, we are still looking at the facts. I think it would be irresponsible to draw conclusions at this point. We are targeting only military targets and those who are responsible for the military forces in Iran. And, if you remember from Gaza, there was a misfire that, Israel was blamed with. So we have to be careful. It is always very regretful when children are being hit. But let's wait for the facts to come up.
Right. What is the end goal over here of Israel and the United States? Is it to either achieve a regime change, or has the end goal already been achieved with the assassination of Khamenei?
Well, Prime Minister Netanyahu has been very clear about that yesterday night when he addressed the people of Israel. And he said that the aim of this operation is, first of all, to take care of all the military threats that are threatening the existence of the state of Israel. And we are taking, together with the United States, action in order to encourage the Iranian people to take their fate in their own hands. We know that this murderous regime has been massacring their own people for decades. They have been oppressing them, hanging them, raping them, and only a month or two ago, tens of thousands of Iranians, demonstrators, were killed in cold blood. This is the international answer for them. They can now embrace this moment and try to change Iran. We don't know whether it's going to happen or not, but I think this is an opportunity for them, and we hope they embrace the opportunity.
Right. Mr. Reuven Azar, one of the criticisms has been this, that many of the countries who are either trying to play a role or perhaps were not involved in the conflict beyond Israel, US and Iran are the ones who've actually suffered the most. If you look at the way that UAE has been battered, the way that Oman has been hit, and several other countries in the Middle East, what would you say about that? Because it appears to have been a wider conflict that has gone beyond the two countries that are at war.
Well, Iran has been hostile towards many other Arab countries for decades now, and they've been trying to, promote different kinds of activities, including terrorist activities, in many of these countries. I must remind you, for example, the Aramco attack about 5 or 6 years ago. This is not new, and Iran believes probably that these countries are, cooperating with the United States. These countries have stated that they have the right to defend themselves, and maybe they will do so. At the end of the day, this only shows how Iran is treating our region, how hostile it has been, and what is the urgency of this regime to go.
Right. What's the likelihood that there would be some boots on ground involvement? At the moment, it's been all, pretty much offensive in the air, back and forth. How are you looking at this developing in coming days?
I don't know yet. I think it's up to operational consideration. As our Prime Minister has said, we are going to target thousands of Iranian military targets, and this operation can go on for days or for weeks. We have to be patient about it, because we have to make sure that all the military capabilities of Iran are removed.
Right. Now, while Iran has already started making changes for a transition in leadership, what is the sense that you're getting about whether the approach of the new regime will be any different from what we've seen thus far?
We don't know. That's why we have declared that we hope the Iranian people embrace the opportunity. We are not there for them. We are not going to do their job. It's up to them to decide their future, and we will have to deal with the consequences. But in the meantime, we have to make sure that we are not going to be attacked with weapons of mass destruction by Iran in the future.
Right. We also know the fact that Prime Minister Modi was in Israel before all of this fighting broke out, and India has very clearly called for de-escalation of the situation on ground. How prepared do you think Israel and other countries are to heed this advice?
Well, we always have preferred diplomacy. I think that the policy of India has been always sensible. I think we have a common interest to stabilize the region and to prosper. However, the region cannot be stable when Iran is destabilizing it for decades. And therefore, we have to take this operation, and we are looking forward for a future in which we will be able to engage with India and with many other countries in the region to cooperate and to make this region more prosperous.
Reuven Azar, thanks so much for joining us and explaining to us the situation. And of course, as you see, the entire panning out over the next few days, of course, we certainly hope that peace prevails at the very earliest in the Middle East. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Slipping into a very quick break now. More news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.